Hello everyone, welcome to Mechanical Sati. So this is the third lecture for engineering mechanics. Already we have uploaded two videos on this. So if you have not watched those videos, then do find from the playlist of engineering mechanics, or else I will attach those links in the description box of this video. So let us start the video for today without wasting time. So already we have discussed the parallelogram law of forces. So today we'll discuss the triangle law of forces, which is quite similar to that the parallelogram law of forces. So let us try to discuss what your parallelogram law means. So basically, if there are two forces which is acting at a single point, and if we can say those two forces can be represented by two sides of any parallelogram, then the diagonal which will be passing through that single point, that common point where your two forces will be acting, then that diagonal will be represented as the your what, that is resultant. So let us see that again. So if there are two forces like this, and the common point where it will be acting, so this is the common point, and it will be having of different magnitude. Let this is P, and let this is Q, and these two forces are represented as the two sides of a parallelogram. So I can construct a parallelogram like this. So let this will be your Q. Okay, magnitude is Q, and this is your P. Okay, so this magnitude is P. So we have constructed the parallelogram. So this will be the diagonal which can be passed through this point. So this diagonal will be represented as R. Okay, so this is the parallelogram law, and the magnitude of R we can find out that formula. Okay, by using that formula, that will be equal to what? P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. Okay, cos theta whole under root. Okay, so this was the formula already we have derived if theta is the angle in between these two forces. Okay, so after that we discussed how we can resolute any force along any particular direction. So if there is any force which is having any with any angle, that is theta, then this force can be resoluted along any direction if this angle is known to us. So let this magnitude is given by F, and we need to find out the effect of this force along this direction. So I can find out that it will be equal to F cos theta. Okay, if I want to find out the effect of this force along this let this is y axis, so then I can find out that it will be equal to what? F sin theta. Okay, so this much already we have studied. So let us continue our discussion for today. So today we will discuss about constants, action, and reaction. What do we mean by constants, and what do we mean by action, and what do we mean by reaction? So constant means basically, let us try to understand this one. So let this is any fixed surface. Okay, under the on the upper part of that let any body. Okay, so let any rigid body is placed which is having with a weight, that is W. So weight we can define, that is weight equal to what? M into G, where M is the mass of that body and G is the acceleration due to gravity, which is both of them are constant. So W will be also constant one. So the weight of that body is given as W. Sorry. So W. So here if we see here constant, so here this fixed support, so this support is known as your constant. Okay, so sorry, that is support. So this support is known as your constant, because constant means basically it is some resisting element who is going to resist the motion of any body or any particle. Okay, so here what it is doing, it is resisting the motion of this body. Okay, so if this fixed body will be not there, then what may happen, this body may move down also. Okay, so it is decreasing the degree of freedom of any body. So degree of freedom means what? It is the minimum independent variable or independent motion of the of any body or any system. Okay, so any resisting element which is reducing the degree of freedom or reducing the motion of any body or any system, that is known as your constant. So basically these fixed supports are called as your constants. Okay, and action. So like here we saw that this weight is the only force which is acting downward in this case. So this weight force is known as your action here. Okay, and reaction. So according to Newton's third law, we know that every action has equal and opposite reaction. That means we can say whatever action or force will be applied on any body, so that amount of reaction will be getting from that body. So if we see this body, that this system I can say, so this system is applying some force on this rigid support. Okay, so W amount of force is being given to this support. So the same amount of force will be or okay, that force will be given to this body again. Okay, so that amount of force will be considered as the reaction. So I may represent that is as a reaction. So another upward force will be generated over here, so that is known as your reaction. So I am representing as R over here, so R will be called as a reaction force. Okay, so let me erase all these things over here. Okay, so as we have seen over here that if there is any support and that there is any mass, okay, any body which is having a definite mass and that will be having a definite weight. So weight force, any force which is being applied on that body, that is called as your action. Okay, so this is action, and due to that action we will be getting a reaction, so that will be represented as R. Okay, and this fixed support is known as your constant, which is responsible for decreasing the degree of freedom of any system. Okay, so I think you got the concept of all these things. So now let us move forward and try to know what are the different what are the different categories of forces are there. So already I have discussed some categories like tensile force and compressive force. So let us learn all these forces, all the categories of forces now. Okay, so first one is the weight. Okay, so weight means already we have discussed every body or every rigid body, that may be rigid body or that may be deformable body. So every body must be having some weight. Okay, so that weight we may consider as a force. Okay, and that weight will always act in the downward, and we are assuming that all the weight will be acting at the your center of gravity. So when class will be moving forward, we'll be discussing about the center of gravity, what your center of gravity means and where does it lie. Okay, so basically we are assuming that for a according to your continuum approach, your weight will always act at your center of gravity, that is the CG, and it will be acting always downward. Okay, so suppose any body is there. Okay, so it will be at the center of gravity and it will be always acting downward. Okay, so weight, this is called is your weld force, and force unit we know that is Newton. So if we'll be trying to derive that, we know that F equal to ma. So mass into acceleration, that unit kg meter per second square, and this is also called as your Newton. Okay, so this much I think it is clear to you. Next force we can define, that is the external force. So if anybody is there, okay, so if there is anybody, and whatever external force, suppose I am trying to give a force like this or a force like this, so whatever external force is being given, that may be one category of force. Okay, so next is known as your accelerating force. Okay, sorry, so next is known as your what, that is accelerating force. Accelerating force means when any body, okay, any body remains in the motion state. Okay, so acceleration comes when basically it is being in the motion. Okay, so suppose it is moving with some velocity, that is v. Okay, and dv by dt we know that is acceleration. Okay, for a that solid body. So basically we are discussing the bodies which are solid here. We are not considering about the fluid case. Okay, so acceleration will be equal to what, dv by dt, and we know F is equal to ma according to your Newton's second law. What is that Newton's second law? The rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to force. Okay, so this force which is applied, sorry, accelerating force, due to acceleration whatever force will be generated or force will be there, that is known as your accelerating force. Okay, that is equal to what, F is equal to ma. Okay, so there may be any accelerating force also, and we have discussed about the reactive force. So if there will be any support, then at that support we will be getting the reaction force. So let us try to give another example over here. So this is the fixed support here. So in the previous example we have considered that there was the horizontal support, but here I am considering that your vertical support. Okay, so in this case if I will see, and a circular disc type structure is being hanged from the top. Okay, so there is a string. So with this string we'll be solving some numericals also by taking this is as example. Okay, so by any string, let this is point A. Okay, and it is connected to here. By this it is connected. Okay, so here at this support will be getting the reaction force. Okay, so where it will be where there will be any support. Okay, and at that point at that support we will be getting that reaction. Okay, so we may get a reaction like this, and in this case. Okay, so later on we will be discussing also different types of supports. Okay, so reaction force may be also there. Okay, so next next force we can say, that is frictional force. Okay, so there is another chapter in our study also, that is friction. We'll be studying in detail in that case. But friction, suppose due to roughness of surface where your body will be moving, due to that there will be some resistance of that surface. So due to that your another force will be generated. So that force is known as your friction force. Suppose I am taking same example. Okay, so this is the fixed support, and this is the body which is moving over this. Then when it is moving, this is coming in contact with this support. Okay, so in this support, or in this region it is moving. So what we can say, it is coming in contact with this. Okay, so this region, this lower region of this body and this upper region of this support, it is coming in contact. due to roughness of these two bodies. Okay, so your after some time, suppose I am not giving any force, or at a time, at a single time I am giving force. Okay, okay, so what will happen after some time? It will come to rest. Okay, due to what? Due to frictional force. Okay, so frictional force will come into account when your body will be moving. Okay, so it is not the case of your equilibrium condition or rest condition. It is the case of your moving condition. Okay, when your body will be moving, that means it is the case of your dynamics condition. As we have discussed that mechanics may be of two types. One is your statics, okay, and another is your dynamics. Okay, so already we have discussed about this. So static means when your body will be in equilibrium, means it will be not in moving condition. Okay, so when your body is not moving, that is known as your static, and when your body is moving, that is your dynamic. Okay, so in the case of your dynamic condition, we will be getting the frictional force. Okay, so next force if we try to discuss, that is tension. Already I think I have discussed another measure, that is compression. So let me discuss something about it. So if there is any body, okay, any system under that will be trying to pull it. Okay, so two equal and opposite what that is forces are applied, which is tending to pull this body, that is known as your tension force. Okay, otherwise if we will be trying to compressing this body, okay, and due to that your size of that body will be reduced, then that type of force is known as your what? Compression force. Okay, so again if we will be trying to compressing, okay, decrease the size of that body, then that is known as a compression force. Okay, so now let us move forward and try to discuss something about the system of forces. Okay, so there are different types of systems in of forces. So already I have given some hint about it, like concurrent forces in the previous classes. Okay, so let us try to discuss something more about it. So first type of system we can discuss, that is your collinear force. Okay, so collinear, so from the name only we can get something that it is telling about a line. Okay, so if all the forces are acting at a single line, then that type of those type of forces is known as a collinear forces. So I can give example. Suppose there is a force P1. Okay, so magnitude is given as P1 and direction in this direction, and again there is another force, that is P2, which is direction in this direction. Okay, again suppose there is another forces, that is P3. Okay, so direction is in this direction, and let again another force, that is P4, like this, and direction is like this. So if I will see over here, then I can get that all these four forces are acting at a single line. Okay, so this type of forces are known as your collinear forces. Okay, so collinear force means basically if all those forces are acting at a single line, then those type of forces or those type of system of forces is known as your what? Collinear forces. Okay, so next we'll try to discuss that is your concurrent forces. So already I have told you about that, so let us discuss something more about it. So concurrent forces means all the forces will be acting at a single point, or the line passing through the forces, or that is the line of action we can say. So if all those forces are acting at a single point, or the line of action of the forces will be meeting at a single point, then we can say those type of system of forces is known as a concurrent forces. So let us try to draw that. Suppose there is a force like this. Okay, so it is happening like this. So let me erase. Okay, So there is a force like this, and there is another force, there is another force. So all these forces are coming from a single point, then this type of system is known as a concurrent forces. So it may happen the direction is always may be outward, or it may happen the direction may be all the direction may be inward. Okay, so it may happen. So it doesn't matter actually. So if it is meeting at a single point, it may come from a single point, or it may meet at a single point, or it may happen. So there are different type of forces. So some of the forces may be going out, or some of the forces may be coming in. Okay, so it doesn't matter, but if it is meeting at a single point, then that type of forces is known as your concurrent forces. Okay, so now let us move forward and see another system of forces. Another is coplanar forces. Okay, so coplanar forces, again, if we'll see from the name of the system, that is coplanar. Okay, means plane. Okay, so it is telling something about the plane. It means at a single plane, if it is acting, then that type of system of forces is known as your coplanar force. Okay, so let I am drawing a what that is a 3D system plan. So we know about the 3D system. So let this is x, and this is y, and this is z. Okay, that is the perpendicular to the board. Okay, perpendicular to the board. Okay, so coplanar means we have to consider a single plane. So let I am considering this plane. So let me use another end. Okay, so let I am considering xy plane. Okay, so what about forces? If all those forces are in the single plane, that is xy plane, then I can say all these forces are in the what, that is are the coplanar forces. So let a force is acting like this. So direction may be anything. Okay, so direction doesn't matter, but if all these forces are acting in a single plane, then that type of forces, or that type of system, we can say that is your coplanar force. So different magnitude, we can say that is p, let take q, that is r, and this is s. So magnitude may be different, direction may be different, but if all those forces are acting in a single plane, then those type of system of forces is known as your what, coplanar forces. Okay, so from this we can say these are the most three important systems. Collinear, if all those forces are at a single line, or concurrent means if all these forces are coming from a single point or meeting at a single point, or the line of action of any force, say any forces are meeting at a single point, then those type of system is known as a concurrent force. Okay, so likewise coplanar force, if all these forces are meeting at a single point, all these forces are in a single plane, then those type of system is known as a what, coplanar force. So from here we can see we may consider again from these three. Okay, from these three we may get a number of types of system, like we can say collinear and concurrent. Okay, so collinear means एक ही line में रहेगा, and concurrent means that is coming from a single point. So let there is a force like this. So magnitude is p. Okay, so it is getting from the single point. Okay, this point, and again another thing it is telling that concurrent means from that single point only it will be going something out or in. So may draw another force like this, so which will be having some different magnitude. Let this is p1 and that is p2. So we can say this type of forces are known as a coplanar and concurrent. Like this, if I will be saying that coplanar and collinear and non-concurrent. Okay, so previously previous example, that is your collinear and concurrent. Okay, so likewise we can get a number of systems from this, like I can say that is collinear and non-concurrent, and then coplanar concurrent, coplanar non-concurrent, like this. Okay, coplanar concurrent means I can say they are at a single plane. Okay, so all these forces are single plane, and concurrent means they may be coming from a single point or meeting at a single point, or all the line of action of those forces may be meeting at a single point, like this. Okay, so if we'll be trying to draw that, then coplanar means at in this plane only there will be forces. Okay, and concurrent means as I have discussed that they may be meeting at a single point. Okay, so or the line of action of those forces may be meeting at a single point. Okay, so this type of system we can say that is coplanar and that is concurrent. Okay, likewise we can say coplanar and non-concurrent. That means I can say they may be in the single plane, but they are not concurrent. That means they are not coming from a single point. Okay, so I can draw that also. So let me draw that. So this is any plane. Okay, coplanar means I am saying they will be acting at a single plane. So here if you see, they are coplanar but non-concurrent. Okay, so likewise we can get a number of systems. So let us try to get what kind of systems we can get, that is coplanar and parallel force. Okay, so coplanar and parallel force, so we can say so there is one important kind of force systems. So suppose there is any beam. Okay, and in case of your beam we are applying some loads like this. Okay, so these are the coplanar and parallel. These two forces are parallel to each other. But if I will consider, so this is coplanar means in this single plane only it is lying. Okay, so this is a single plane. Okay, and if we'll be applying some loads like this. Okay, okay, so these two loads are what? This is our coplanar means it is lying at a single plane, but these are not parallel to each other. So this kind of forces or this kind of systems we can say that is coplanar and coplanar and parallel we are going to discuss. So these two forces, this one and this one, we can say these are lying in a single plane. Okay, another thing, they are also parallel to each other. Okay, likewise if we'll be drawing like this another force which will be acting here. So this force and this force are coplanar and parallel force. So in case of your beams we'll be getting such type of condition, that is coplanar and parallel. Okay, so now let us discuss, that is fifth one, that is coplanar concurrent. Already I have discussed, and that is that means all those forces will be lying at a single plane, but they are concurrent. Okay, concurrent means they are also meeting at a single point also. Likewise you can get a coplanar non-concurrent. That means they may be lying at a single plane, but they must not be concurrent, means they must not meet at a single point. So non-coplanar concurrent means they may be meeting at a single point, but they should not be in a single plane. So we can say, suppose this is the xyz axis. So let this is x and this is y and this is z axis. Okay, so suppose sorry, so there is a force in the yz plane, and there is another force in the xy plane, and there is another force in your xz plane. Okay, so this is the x. So there are three forces which are concurrent. That means they are meeting at a single point, but we cannot say that they are coplanar. That means they are not lying in a single plane. So these are the this is the example of your what non-coplanar and concurrent force. So let us move next and try to discuss what kind of force may be system may be possible. That is non-coplanar forces. So non-coplanar, as already we have discussed. So there may be the forces which will be acting, they may not be in a single plane. Okay, so if they are not in the single plane, then that type of system of forces is known as your what non-coplanar forces. So in the previous example we can say that is the non-coplanar forces, as well as it was concurrent. So it will be saying, so let these are the axis, and this is one force, and this is one force. Okay, this is one force which are not meeting at a single point. So it will extend those lines. So it will be trying to extend, let me use another color. So if will be trying to extend that, then they are not meeting at a single point. Okay, so they are not meeting at a single point, so we cannot say that this is your what concurrent force. So this one is your concurrent. Okay, so but all these three, we will be taking this is as a system. By taking these three forces, then we cannot say that this is a what, that is your concurrent force. Okay, so these are the different system of forces which we may be using. So basically we need to remember what is collinear force, concurrent force, and coplanar force. So from all these three we can derive all these systems. Sorry. So now let us move forward and try to discuss something more. So next we'll be trying to discuss what is your free body diagram. How can we draw the free body diagram of anybody? So if we see that a free body diagram is necessary to investigate the condition of equilibrium of a body or system. Okay, so basically whatever if any body is in equilibrium, then how much forces is acting under that, and due to that whatever reaction will be getting, they all of them will be in the equilibrium condition. That means that there will be no unbalanced forces. Okay, so to show that we can use the free body diagram. Okay, so while drawing the free body diagram, all the supports of the body need to be removed. Okay, so first of all what we need to do, we need to remove all these supports which may be present in any system. Okay, then after removing all these supports, we need to replace those supports by the reaction forces which will be acting on that. Okay, so already I have discussed what reaction means. So after removing those supports which will be in that system, what we need to do, we need to replace your reaction forces which may be acting in that support. Okay, so let us take some examples and try to draw the free body diagram. So a previous example whatever we have taken, so that let me draw that one. So this is the fixed support, and this is the weight, or this is any system or any rigid body. So basically in mechanics, whatever body will be considering, all these bodies are rigid. Rigid means there will be no deformation, or deformation is negligible. Okay, so this is the body, and which will be having some weight which will be acting downward, so it will be equal to mg, that is equal to w. Okay, so it will be trying to draw this body. So first of all what we have to do, we need to remove the supports. So there is a single support only. Okay, so we need to remove this support. So if I'll remove this support, then what I can draw, so I can draw the simply this body. Okay, so this is the body which we want to for which we want to draw the free body diagram. So I have drawn this body. Okay, so after that we need to show the forces which will be acting, and the reaction forces also. So reaction force I will be getting over here. Okay, which will be acting directly opposite to the weight force. Okay, so first let me show the weight force over here. So weight force it will be acting downward. Okay, so which weight is given as mg. Okay, and the reaction force will be equal to mg also, but it will be acting in the opposite direction. So these two forces will be acting in a single line. Okay, because this is the according to your Newton's third law, every action has equal and opposite reaction. So equal, that is magnitude is equal, that means if that w is equal to mg, then here r, that is reaction force, that will be also equal to mg. Okay, so and opposite means reaction will be opposite, means your they maybe or they will lie at a single line. Okay, and the reaction, so R I can say, I'll be showing the direction, then R equal to what, minus mg. Okay, so this will be the free body diagram for so this is the free body diagram for this body. Okay, so now let us move forward, and okay, during the study, during the solving of different examples, we can saw your different examples also, so that we can draw the free body diagram. So let us take this example and try to draw the free body diagram for this body. So there is a there is a cylindrical disc, okay, circular disc we can say, which is under which any force, a single force is applied, which is parallel to the horizontal. Okay, and your weight obviously it will be acting downward, and there is a string which is connected at point A, making an angle alpha. So let us try to draw the free body diagram for this body. So first we need to do what, we need to remove this support. Okay, so let me remove this support. So if I'll be removing that support, then what I can do, simply I can draw this circle. Okay, so after drawing that, we need to show all these forces. Okay, and we need to replace the support by the reaction force. So if we'll be drawing that, what are the different forces? So weight will be acting downward, so I can show that force, weight will be acting downward, and this is the applied force, that is P. So P is applied, so it is parallel to your horizontal, so this is P. And the reaction force will be getting here, so again we can say it is quite perpendicular, so here we can get the reaction force. Let this is R, and R will be equal to what, R will be equal to minus W. Okay. Then another force will be coming into account over here, so that is the, already we have discussed, that is tension force. Okay, so tension, where does it come? So basically, so this is the string. Okay, and it will be giving any force in this direction. Okay, so let me erase it. Okay, so what we are doing, we are applying some force in this direction. Okay, so what will happen, it will be trying to pull this string, so that your tensile force will be generated in this string. Okay, and again, as it is connected at point O, so a force will be there in the direction of O. Okay, so which will be the tensile force. Okay, so that force also we need to show in this diagram. So it will be somewhat like this. So this angle was your alpha, so like let me show this angle. So this angle was your alpha, so I can see, so if I will be drawing a line over here, so this angle will be equal to this angle. So I can show this is as alpha. So after drawing sorry, after showing all those forces, we need to show the angle if it is required. Okay, so to fix any force, we need to show the angles also. Okay, so let us take another example. So let me erase all these things. Okay, so let us take another example, that is this one. Okay, so again what we can do, let us draw a circle. Okay, and weight will be acting downward. Okay, so reaction now where we will get, that is most important over here. So I already have told you that reaction whatever will be getting at the supports. So there is a support which is connected to this body here, and there is another support, this one, which is connected to this body at this point. So reactions will be getting at these 2 points. So let this is point A and this is point B. At this point A and B will be getting the reactions, and reaction will be always perpendicular to the support, so we'll be getting a reaction like this. Okay, likewise we'll be getting a reaction like this, which will be perpendicular to this support and this support. Okay, so let us try to draw that those reactions. Already we have drawn the what, that is weight of that body. Okay, So let us now try to draw that reaction. So we'll be getting a reaction somewhat like this, which will be perpendicular to this support. Okay, so we'll be getting a reaction like this. So already I have marked this is at a point B. So I am naming this is RB, reaction at point B. Okay, likewise I will be getting a reaction like this. Okay, so let me draw another force. Okay, reaction force, let that is R A. Okay, and now we need to find out the angle so that we can fix these forces. Okay, so how can we find out let us try to find out this angle. Okay, so let me use another ink. Okay, so let us try to find out this angle and this angle. So if we see this is the if we'll extend this one, then it will be meeting somewhat here, and if we'll extend this one, it will be extended like this. So now this angle is your what, that is 90 minus beta, because this is the angle will be 90 because it is perpendicular. Okay, so this will be equal to 90 minus beta. Okay, so this angle we can say this will be also equal to 90 minus beta. Okay, and if will be sorry, okay, so this will be equal to 90 minus beta. So again this angle will be equal to also 90 minus beta. So I can say this will be equal to 90 minus beta. So I can show this will be equal to beta. Is it clear? So let me draw it again. So okay, so we need to draw the circle. Okay, this is the circle, and weight will be acting always downward. So let this is W, which is given over here. Okay, and we need to draw the reaction forces. Okay, reaction will be like this. Okay, and we need to extend this one. So this is the reaction. Okay, so if we extend this one, let me use another ink. Okay, so this is 90 degree. Okay, so let me okay, can it be zoomed? Okay, okay, so this angle is 90 degree. Okay, already we have known. Okay, and this angle is beta, and so that we can say that this will be equal to 90 minus beta. Okay, so if it is 90 minus beta, then the angle which we can say, so let me draw it. Okay, so this is the line, horizontal line, and this is the vertical axis. Okay, so okay, now it will be visible. So if this is this angle is 90 minus beta, so again this angle will be also 90 minus beta. So if this is 90 minus beta, so this angle will be also 90 minus beta. So if it is 90 minus beta, this angle will be equal to beta. Okay, so likewise we can calculate that this angle will be equal to alpha. So let us try to check it also. So now if I am extending this one, okay, so let me draw it also. So let me use another ink. Okay, so okay, so I am extending this force in this direction. Okay, and okay, so after extension this angle is your alpha, and this is 90 degrees. So this will be equal to what, 90 minus alpha. So if it is 90 minus alpha, so okay, so this angle will be also equal to 90 minus alpha. So as this angle is 90 minus alpha, so this angle will be also equal to 90 minus alpha. So if it is 90 minus alpha, so this angle will be equal to alpha. So I think it's clear to all of you. So let me draw the full free body diagram. So there will be a reaction like this, there will be reaction like this. Okay, so okay, so this is the vertical line, and this angle will be equal to what, alpha, and this angle will be equal to beta. Okay, so with this this free body diagram is being completed. So let us try to draw another free body diagram. So I am giving this is an exercise to you can try it and draw the free body diagram for this body. So this is an easier one, you can try it, and if you can't, then do comment in the comment section. I will be giving it. Okay, so do try it and try to solve this one. Okay, next we'll be trying to solve before that, what is the principle of transmissibility? So what does it mean? It states that the action of force is transmitted along its line of action throughout the rigid body. So what does it mean? So if there is any rigid body and any force is being applied to that, then this is the line of action. So let me draw that. So this is the line of action of this force. Then what is telling that states that the force transmitted along the line of action throughout the rigid body. So whatever force is being applied on a rigid body, along that line of action it can be transmitted. That means wherever may be the force you act. Okay, so we may act we may apply that force at any place, but the effect will not change according to principle of transmissibility. So most important thing is here that the rigid body. So in case of your rigid body only, if we are applying any force at a single point, so in the line of action of that force we may apply at any point. Okay, so the effect of that force, if will be acting or applying at any point along the line of action, it will not change. Okay, so I think you have understood the concept of transmissibility. So let us try to read it again, that the action of force is being transmitted along the line of action throughout the rigid body. Okay. Next we will discuss triangle law of forces. Already we have discussed about the parallelogram law of forces. So already I have told you that it is quite similar to the parallelogram law of forces. Okay, so what does the triangle law of forces states about? So if two forces acting on a rigid body are represented by two sides of a triangle taken in order. Okay, so order means the direction is same actually. So in a particular single order, so direction is not same but order is same. So let us try to understand that. And then the closing side of that triangle represents the resultant of that those two forces, which is taken in the opposite order. So let me draw some figures so that you can understand it easily. So it is telling that if two forces are acting on a rigid body and represented by two sides of a triangle, suppose this is any rigid any force, let this magnitude is P, and there is another force, that is magnitude is given as Q. Okay, so taken in order means this is the direction of Q and this is the direction of the Q. Okay, so this is the direction of P and this is the direction of Q. So order, that means is somewhat like this. So so let me show it. Okay, so if P is in this direction, then from where your P ends, from that point your Q starts and it is moving forward. Okay, so that type of system, that type of direction, we can say that is the order. Okay, it is these two forces are taken in order. Okay, so if it is happening like this, then we can say the your resultant of this kind of system will be the closing. Okay, so if this is the two sides of any triangle, then the opposite another side which will be closing this triangle, that is the resultant of these two vectors. Okay, of these two forces. Okay, and it should be taken in the opposite order. So the order of this one will be opposite to the previous one. Okay, so let me use another ink to show the resultant force. Okay, and it will be opposite. So it will be considered that in same order, means that direction should be like this, but we are telling that it should be in the opposite order, so your direction will be like this. So this will be the resultant. So it is quite similar, and if we'll be trying to find out, let this angle is alpha, okay, and let this angle is theta, okay. So according to your what, that is parallelogram law of forces, though the force was somewhat here. So here we are representing that these two forces are the sides, two adjacent sides of a parallelogram, but here these two sides are represented by the sides of your triangle. So it is quite similar in this case also. What we are getting the resultant, that means the diagonal which will be passing through this point, that will be called as your resultant. So in this case we have calculated that r is equal to what, that will be equal to p square plus q square, okay, this is q square plus 2pq cos theta. So theta was the angle between these two forces, okay. So again here it will be extend this force, then we can say that this is the angle in between these two forces. So for this, so we can say the formula will remain same, but you have to remember this statement, okay. So formula you can remain same. So if you will be trying to derive that formula, you can derive it. So let me tell about this. You can do it by yourself, okay. So okay, see it, okay. So if we'll be trying to draw a triangle over here, okay, so let me name it. Let this is a, and this is b, and this is c, and this is d, okay. So in the abd triangle, this angle is alpha, okay, and okay. So we need to find out the resultant. This resultant we need to find out. So if we can find out this value and this value, we can find out the value of r, okay. So from this triangle you can find out. So let me use another ink, okay. So from this triangle you can find out the value of this side and this side. After finding these two sides, you can find this side also. Then after finding these two sides, you can find out this sides also by using the Pythagoras theorem, okay. So I think you can do it by yourself, because already we have derived for the parallelogram law of forces, so you can do the same things, okay. So last law of the forces are, okay, so these laws are not only valid for forces, so that may be valid for any vectors, okay. So these are the vector laws actually, okay. So next law, that is your law of polygon, okay. So if will be, okay, so let me erase all these things, okay. So diagram if we will see, then diagram will be somewhat like this, you can see over here, okay. So this is the p force, and this is the q force, and this is the angle theta, and this is the resultant. This is the what, your closing side of the triangle. So this is the resultant, we can see, and sorry, okay. So this is the resultant will be getting over here, okay. So I think that's clear to all of you. Moving next, we'll see the polygon law of forces. So it's telling that, sorry, this is if, okay. So if the number of concurrent forces acting on a body are represented by each sides of a polygon taken in order, then the closing side of the polygon represents the resultant which is taken in opposite order. So let us see that also. So here AB is the force, and there are number of forces like 1 2 3 4, okay. So these are 4 forces which are acting on a body, okay, and these are represented by any sides of a polygon, okay. So the closing sides of the polygon will be the resultant for this kind of systems or this kind of forces, okay. So let the magnitude of AB is P, and Q is BC, okay. So magnitude of CD is S, and magnitude of DE is T. Then we can find out the resultant, which is the closing side, and it is taken in the opposite order, okay. So it is for all these since we can say it is in clockwise order, and this is the it is anti-clockwise order, so this will be in the clockwise order. Okay, so the closed side of the polygon will be represented as the resultant for this kind of systems. Okay, so now moving next we'll be trying to solve numerical. So let us try to read it fast. So a man of weight is given 712 Newton, okay, holds one end of a rope that passes over a pulley vertically over his head, and to the other end of that rope, which is attached to a Q. Okay, weight is given Q, and find the force which the man's feet press against the floor. Okay, so basically there is a man which is having weight that is given 712 Newton, and that is holding a rope over the head, and that rope is attached to a weight that is given 534 Newton, and that is passing over a pulley. Okay, and we need to find out the force which is given by the feet against the floor. Okay, so let us try to draw the diagram. So we can draw a diagram somewhat like this. Okay, so this is the man, and it is having a weight W, which will act downward always. Okay, and Q, so Q is the weight of any that weight which is attached to the rope, and this rope is passed through this pulley. Okay, and this is the string. So what are the different forces we can see over here? So primary force, that W, which is weight of the man, and Q, which is given for this weight. Okay, another force will come into account due to the presence of rope, that is the tension force in the string, that is S. So now if we calculate the amount of tension in this string, it will be easy to find out the force which the man's feet will press against the floor. Okay, so let us first try to calculate the tension force which will be inside that what that is string. Okay, so let us try to calculate that. So S will be equal to what? This S will be equal to this Q. Okay, so these two, for equilibrium condition, these two should be balanced with each other. So I can say S will be equal to Q. So this is the capital Q, sorry. Okay, so S will be equal to Q. Okay, and that will be, we can find out 534 Newton. Okay, so now here S we have find out that is 53 Newton. Okay, so S we have calculated, that is 53 Newton, that is 534 Newton, and W is given, that is 712 Newton, and we can find out okay, so we can find out the what your man's feet is pressing against the floor. Okay, so simply if we see, so it will be trying to draw the free body diagram over here. Okay, so let me draw the free body diagram. Okay, so if we'll be trying to free body diagram, then we'll remove this what that is surface. Okay, reaction force we can remove. Okay, so I can sorry, let me use the pen. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. Okay, so I can draw the free body diagram. So this will be the W, and against the so let this is the point. Okay, so W will be acting downward, and your tension force S will be acting upward. Okay, so and the reaction force will be also acting upward. Okay, let me use another ink so that it can be clearly visible. So reaction force, that is, this will be R, will be also acting upward. So net force which will be acting upward, that will be equal to what? R minus S. Okay, so from this you can calculate the force which will be acting on the man's feet, which will be pressing against the floor. Otherwise we can say, so let I'm not taking this R. Okay, and without considering the reaction force, only we can consider the what that is this string force and this W. So already we have discussed the parallelogram law of forces. So by using that law we need to find out the answer. Okay, so these are the what we can say, which type of system of forces, that is collinear force we can say, because they are acting on a single line. Okay, so okay, parallelogram law of forces, if these forces are acting at a single point. Okay, so we can consider the parallelogram law of forces if those forces are acting on a single point only. Okay, so we know that these two forces are acting at a single point, so I can write the resultant. Okay, so we need to find out the resultant, and the resultant will be equal to what, W square plus S square plus 2 cos okay 2 ws cos theta. Okay, and here on whole under root. Okay, and theta here we can say 180 degree, and theta cos 180 we can say that is equal to -1. So let me use another color. Okay, so that will be equal to -1. So this will be equal to what, -2 ws. So we can say this will be the formula for, okay, let me erase all these things. Okay, so here R we can write that will be equal to W minus S whole square. Okay, whole square, whole under root. Okay, so here we can write that will be equal to W minus S. Okay, so W is given 712, that is 712 minus 534. Okay, if we will deduct this, then we can find out 712 minus 534, that will be equal to what, 178. Okay, so 178 Newton will be the correct answer for this. Okay, so in the next class we will continue from this. We will be trying to solve some more numericals from this section. Okay, so with this we have reached at the end of lecture for today. So thank you for watching.